Hello, friends. Welcome back to Panel Showing. We are back again to talk about our stack of books that we read every week. And at the end of the episode, we discuss our pick of the week, which is our favorite book, obviously. And we are also reading the Chris Claremont run on X-Men. It is available on Hoopla and Libby. If you'd like to read along with us, it is free to do with a library card. So we are back again. Episode 97. I'm here with Jared. Jared, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Steve. Thanks. And I think issue is quite appropriate, considering what
Yeah.
we're talking about.
It's just a bad habit I've developed over the past, Jesus, a year and a half. Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
almost 100. Yeah, so we have quite the list this week, so we'll skip our topic. But I would like to maybe for next week. There's an article for the top 10 all-time best Image comics.
Image. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll send that list to you, and maybe we can discuss it next week.
Oh, yeah, that'd be something.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
We can talk about that next week. We have quite a few books to get to, so we'll kick this one off. So the first one for me is Absolute Flash number 5. This is a book I've been hanging on to for a while just because of the creative team, but there's a guest artist and the art just isn't the same.
Hmm.
So we have the story. This is my problem with this book, is that I don't know if I'm missing something, or if I'm missing something as not knowing enough about the Flash to really appreciate what they're doing here with the Absolute line. It's just really not anything. It's just not grabbing me. It's not pulling me in. I'm just kind of bored with it. I've been giving it some time because I'm waiting for it to develop, and Jeff Lemire's writing it, so I'm trying to give it some, but it's just not. There's moments that feel like there's a reveal, like it should be this oh wow moment, and it just, okay, who's that? So it's just kind of, it's a swing and a miss for me. I'm hanging on, but I'll give it one more issue just because of Jeff Lemire. But something has to happen here because it's just not. It hasn't grabbed me yet, unfortunately. I really want to like this book. I just don't. So.
Wow. Is this it then? Are you done?
I'll give it one more. I'll give it one more issue. I will, just because of Lemire.
You are much more patient than I am.
I've always wanted to like the Flash. I've always wanted to get into the Flash, and every time I read the Flash, I'm bored out of my mind. So, if there's any Flash runs out there that anyone can think of to recommend, please let me know.
All right. Yeah, I was never a Flash guy, so I would not be the one to ask that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for my first issue, tonight I have This Ends Tonight, number 1 by Image Comics, and it's written by 3 people, and artwork by Jay Lee. And I picked this up because of Jay Lee, because of his artwork. I've always enjoyed his artwork, so I was like, okay, I gotta check this out. And as I was going through it, I was like, why did we need 3 people to write this book? It was the story starts off with two girls. I think one of them is I think it's like one of them's engaged, so it's like a bachelorette party of sorts. And then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose, and these 2 girls who you know nothing about all of a sudden know how to fight, and they're escaping and doing all this, martial arts and fighting people and all this, all the stuff you see in Tom Cruise movies and what have you, and it was so ridiculous, and it looked pretty. The artwork is gorgeous, um, but I was just like, I was not invested in the characters at all because it was just a non-stop action film,
Hmm.
and um, towards the end, it gets a little strange and psychedelic, and you get this little hint that something else may be going on, but it just wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough to get me over the hump of just just it's just flash. It's two hot chicks fighting people, and that's all it is. And I was just like, I was hoping for a little bit more from a Jay Lee drawn
Hmm.
book, and I didn't get what I wanted. So I don't think this one's gonna be continuing.
It's
Yeah,
too bad. Yeah.
yeah, it is too bad.
Jilly has beautiful artwork though.
Yeah, I love he did the adaptation for the Dark Tower,
Oh yeah.
um, for Marvel and for Stephen King's Dark Tower, and it was just outstanding. I loved that adaptation, and because I loved his artwork, and but I guess that just goes to show you need story.
Yeah. Yeah. You do. It only gets you so far. Beautiful
Yeah,
artwork.
yeah. Maybe the second issue will give us something, but I don't know. I don't think I'll be going there
Hmm.
based on the
It's
first.
too bad. It's so tough to with comics to hook the reader in the first issue, and it's hard to set things up or to you ask a lot of a reader to come back and buy the next issue and stick with it when there's certain benchmarks you need to kind of get readers to come back. It's tough.
Yeah.
Speaking of beautiful artwork, the second book on my list is Absolute Martian Manhunter #5. So this is a beautiful book. I love the artwork, the use of color, shadows, paneling, layouts, perspective. All of it is on display here. It's just a gorgeous book. The story with the Martians is okay, I guess. I mean, it feels like everyone's a spectator, and I think that's kind of the point. Is that you know Jones is like a spectator here, and not he's kind of just along for the ride like the rest of us. I much prefer his personal struggles with his wife and his kid, and that the interpersonal relationship, and the way that he's trying to balance his life and his work, and knowing that there's all these strange things happening, and he's trying to balance it all. And that to me is more interesting and more compelling. But the, again, it's not, like I said, it sounds like a complaint. The artwork is doing a lot of heavy lifting. I think for the artwork alone, I think it's worth the cost of the cover price. But I'm still enjoying it. It's just not my favorite Absolute book, but it's up there. So I like what they're doing with it. I just I kind of feel like I'm complaining too much that the story I need something. The story at some point we have to start kind of progressing with things, and I'm not to the point where I'm getting impatient because it's just so well done. But I think something has to start kind of moving along.
Cool. Well, hopefully it does.
Hopefully, yeah.
All right. Well, um, my next comic is Imperial #2 from Marvel Comics, and this is the big event in Marvel space. The the what do you call that? Like the space, the cosmic Marvel universe here, and this continues straight on from the first issue, and I kind of like it. I think Hickman's doing a good job of balancing all these different um, these different factions of the cosmic Marvel universe with the Kree and the Shire and the Skrulls, and other couple other factions, including, I guess Wakanda has a big space station somewhere too. That's uh, an asteroid that they can that has vibranium on it, and they mine it. And of course, that's all part of the struggle too. Vibranium is a big mineral that people want. So there's a lot of factions going on, and there's a big murder mystery here about from the first issue that people are still trying to solve, and who who's responsible for it, who's going to war over it, and I think Hickman is doing a pretty good job of balancing all these things because it could get pretty complex given all the characters involved and stuff like that. And but he kept it pretty interesting, and he's keeping it fairly grounded so that you can follow along. Because I don't know what's been going on in the Marvel universe in the past 10, 15 years, and so I there's definitely stuff in here that I'm like, okay, I have no idea who that guy is, and I don't know why his people are in the situation they're in, but he still keeps it interesting enough that he just still gives you enough hint so that you can kind of get it and just move on with the story and not have to know all that history that came before. So not bad, not bad. I'm gonna stick with it and see what Hickman does with this.
I really like some of the stuff Hickman's done. His image work. Haven't read too much of his superhero stuff. I don't think. But if anybody can pull off a cosmic story like that, it's Hickman. He can get pretty wild with some of his stuff.
Yeah, I've enjoyed his creator-owned stuff as well. Yeah.
It was a little intimidating for me because I don't know as much about the Marvel cosmic stuff, so it was kind of I was a little lost.
Yeah, I could see that.
All right, the next one for me is Benjamin Number 2 by Oni Press. This is a story about an author who reappears, and he's not sure where he came from, why he's here. Did he die? Is he reincarnated? You know, we don't know. He just appears, and he's trying to figure out why he's back, why he is where he is. He's kind of this stereotypical, kind of know-it-all, full of himself author, and he is trying to find out where he came from. In this issue, we do learn more about why he's back and how it connects to his books and his fans who love his books. And the first issue I really liked because it was very humorous, and it was very clever. And the second book, it gets into more detail on why he's back and how it happened, and it gets a little ridiculous. And yeah, I'm not sure about this one. No, it kind of lost me a little bit in this issue. I'm not sure where it's going, but I'll give it another issue. But I'm on the edge on this one. I'm just not sure where it's headed. You know, it's like I said, it wasn't as funny as the first issue. It kind of changed tone a little bit, and I'm not sure, you know, kind of what path they're taking. So this one I'm riding the fence on. So we'll see next month.
Like I said, you have more patience than I do.
Well, we'll get there. There's a few more that get the axe.
Because my next comic, the Ifu number 2, I was intrigued by the first issue, and I thought it had a pretty decent premise. And so I picked up the second issue, and I it's from Devil's Due Studios, and it's a sci-fi kind of space opera-ish type of situation. And this second issue did not continue on where I thought it was going to from the first issue, and it just introduced all these characters and situations that seem to have nothing to do with what happened in the first issue. except very peripherally, like vague. And I just don't know what they were trying to achieve with this issue at all. I was completely bored and lost. And the artwork's okay. It's not strong enough to hold the book on its own without a good story. And there was just a lot of weird stuff thrown in there. And I was very disappointed because I wanted to know more about what they set up in the first issue without this just it really went off the rails. I'm just like surprised at how much the story went off the rails with this, and so I definitely will not be continuing on with the Ifu. Um, Even more disappointing than the last one. This ends tonight. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's too bad.
It is too bad. Yeah, I was looking forward to a good sci-fi book, but
Hmm.
oh well, didn't happen.
Yeah, I guess we'll keep the trend going here. My next book is Death of the Silver Surfer #2. Now, with a title like Death of the Silver Surfer, in my mind, and maybe this is my fault, I went into this book expecting something more in the vein of Silver Surfer Requiem, a little bit more serious, a little bit more dark, just kind of a little, you know, just not quite as bright. I didn't expect Silver Surfer to be helping kids pick apples out of a tree. And it just, there's supporting characters in this that I don't, I couldn't get into. There was another storyline featuring Galactus that I think has some potential, but it seems like it's meandering and it's just not getting to the point. I'm not sure if they're stretching it out on purpose just because of the Fantastic Four movie. Like they want to keep, I mean, I get it, but that doesn't make for a good comic book, unfortunately. So I tried.
Wow, we're really
Yeah,
hitting the stride this week, huh?
we're out the button this week. Yeah, so I'm out on Death of the Silver Surfer. Not what I was expecting. It's not good. So that's it for me. All right. One more from me. Well, not one more, but before Jared's next, which is Exquisite Corpses #3 by Image Comics. Now, those who don't know, the story is about the 13 original families that founded the United States. They are the most powerful families in the country, and they basically rule the country from behind the scenes. Every so often on Halloween, they block off a random town in the country, they isolate it, and then they each have a champion that they let loose in the city and basically kill everyone. And the last person standing is whoever's champion is last standing is the winner, and they get to rule. And no, it also features we also get some, which in this issue we focus more on the families, and they're all sitting around watching the TV monitors and watching their champions go and cause chaos. And there's a lot of kind of political maneuvering and a lot of betting. It's not only betting on your champion, it's betting on, oh, my champion's going to go out very quickly, but he's going to cause a lot of problems, or he's going to kill somebody or something. And so it's not only about winning, it's also about these side bets that they're all doing. They're all messing with each other. Now, I feel like we've seen a lot of this in the past 5 to 10 years, with, or maybe even longer, with The Purge, The Hunt, things like that, where the rich and powerful pit people against each other, and people are stuck in the middle, which I mean is fine. I'm not complaining about it. I don't dislike it. This one's just not blazing any new trails. It's not really doing anything new. It is fun, but it's not. It's not something I'm excited for. It's something that when I get to, it's like, okay, I don't mind reading it, but I'm not over the moon about it. So yeah, this one is going to be a last minute decision for me. I just don't. There's nothing really that stands out that's new. I haven't. we haven't gotten any characters that I can really attach myself to or kind of really care about. So this one's kind of, I don't know. I don't dislike it. I just don't know if I like it enough to pick up the next one, if that makes sense.
All right. Wow.
Yeah, I'm on a roll this week.
We're on a roll, yeah. All right. Well,
We'll do half trombone.
Half
Trombone. Yeah.
Well, let's pick things up a little bit here.
Okay.
My next comic is from our friends at Distillery, once again. And it's called The City Beneath Her Feet, #1.
Oh.
And this was another interesting entry from Distillery. Very well put together story. And it starts with a very interesting prologue that makes you say, "Oh, what happened here? What's going on?" And then I was a little bit worried because it did have an action scene that was reminiscent of This Ends Tonight, but fortunately it was way shorter and it actually meant something to the story. And I was like, oh, thank you. Thank you. James Tinian's the writer on here, so I was
nice.
like, thank you for that. The artwork is by Elsa. Oh my, I'm gonna butcher her name. Charketchier, I think. And her artwork is a little bit more. It's a little lighter. It's a little more breezy. It's I wouldn't call it cartoonish. I would just say it's a little. It's fun. It's fun to look at it, and the colors are by Jordi Belair, who's probably the best colorist in comics there is today.
Yeah.
So he's fantastic, and so it really makes the comic pop, and really enhances the artwork and the story. So these so once again we're getting this story of two women who get to know each other, and it reminded me of another comic that we just read recently, but I can't remember the name of it now. But either way, the Spectrograph one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that we read recently, and but this is a completely different situation, and it's these two women get to know each other, but it's a very one-sided relationship, and the woman that the main character that we're following, you really feel for her, and you really want things to work out for her. She's a great character, and she was written very well, and I really liked what Tinian did with this character. And there was there was an epilogue at the end of it that threw me for a loop. So that was a really great thing, and I'm looking forward to the next issue. And this was in contention for my pick of the week. It was a really solid story from Tinian. Yeah. So let's bring things back up. All right.
Yes. We will keep the train going, which is Battle Beast, the Invincible Universe presents or something. Battle Beast #3, and the Battle Beast continues his quest to find a worthy opponent or his death. He's just looking for someone to kill him or to kill. And it's this book. I talk a lot about. We talk about books like Assorted Crisis Events, which it releases this week, or other books like Ice Cream Man, or other books that have have a message, have something that they're trying to say. This is just fun. It's like it's just tiger who goes around killing everybody and everything, and is just kind of an asshole, and it's just fun. It's just well done. It's fun. It's well written. The art is beautiful, and it's when you get down and you're reading your books and you get to this kind of book, it's fun to just read about a killer tiger in outer space that's just fucking things up. So I just have a blast with it. I mean, it's just fun. Colors and pencils are great. It's just a good time. So yeah, give me some applause for that. Yeah, but it reminds you of creators like Kirkman, who much like he's the writer of Geiger.
Oh, Johns.
Jeff Johns. Sorry, my brain went blank. Writers like that who know comics, who know how to make a good comic. They're just they're just masters of their craft, and it really appreciate the work that they do and what they're able to pull out. So it's really good stuff, fun stuff. The next one for me before we get to our picks is the Blood Brothers Mother #4 by Distillery. This is the final issue in this series, much like Jared discussed, I believe, last week. And it ends about as dark as you'd probably expect this story to end. It was a little bit more bleak than even I was expecting. But yeah, it's now I hate to say, so overall the story from start to finish, it's a dark, violent, brutal Western. So if you like that kind of story, I think you'd probably like this book. Maybe it's because I'm reading McCarthy, the Border trilogy, that I see parallels between the two stories. I do feel like they were inspired by the Border trilogy, maybe. But either way, a good story. There's one thing that really irritated me is the cursive handwriting on the page without a box around it, and it's just the color of the lettering against the page is hard to read. And in this issue especially, it's very important because we're getting a lot of exposition from the narrator, and it was really annoying to have to try to figure out what the words are on the page because it was very hard to see. So that's my only complaint, is it was hard to read. But another thing is that there was another scene in this last book where the characters have conflict, and it's hard to tell who's who because all the characters, not all of them look that dissimilar. So it was hard to keep up with who's who at times, some of the scenes. But overall, it sounds like I'm complaining, but overall it was a good, dark, violent, brutal Western. If you like that, you'll probably like The Blood Brothers Mother by Distillery Comics. And with all that said, it is time for Pick of the Week.
Pick of the week. Yeah. So this week, tough choice, but I ended up choosing The New Gods #8. Continually surprising me that I'm actually liking a normal DC comic this much. And mainly because the writer of this book keeps bringing in non-normal superhero stuff into the narrative, and I'm enjoying that immensely. He brought in more mythology that I didn't know about these new gods, and I enjoyed that. The little appearances of the JLA that we had seen so far in this run remained off to the side. They didn't dominate the book. They were there because it's in the DC universe, and it makes sense that they would show up with all these powerful gods suddenly showing up on Earth. So it makes sense that they're there, but they're not overshadowing the story. They're off to the side. They're doing their thing, and the story is focused on the new gods, and it's focused on their mythology, and it's focused on what they're going to do. And I really like how these gods who had their own home, and they were used to being, these up on a pedestal, and now they're not, and they're in this new place, and they're trying to figure out what to do with their life. They're kind of having an identity crisis, and I really like how the writer's approaching that. And it's just it's pretty cool, and there's a really touching moment at the end of the book, and it just continues to be a really solid read, and I hope he's able to keep it up because I think it's one of the best DC comics there is, and so that is it. That is the peak of the week, and
Oh,
there's still like two or three different artists in this book, so they
mm.
keep mixing the art up a lot, but they're really doing a great job of blending it and mixing it with the mythology stuff and what have you, and making it work.
Wow. Glad to hear this book is going strong.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So my book this week, and this one was probably between this and Battle Beast, maybe Martian Manhunter. But this one is just too good for me to not make it my pick, which is Sleep number 3. It's by Image Comics. This book is so interesting to me. So it's a book about a man who's having trouble sleeping. When he wakes up, there is death and destruction around him in this town, and he's trying to piece together if he is this problem or not. We're not sure as the reader, and he's not sure as the character, so we're learning together whether he is this beast or this thing creating all this chaos and all this murder, mayhem. So we're confused. He's confused. The book is in monochrome, or it's in black and white, and there are certain things in red, very specific things that are red. There's blood on the page. The blood isn't always red. It's only red in certain situations. Certain times it's not red. It's other times it is red. His glasses are red. There's other things that are red on the page. So there's obviously some significance to these items that are in red. There's other random things that are in red through the story. So that it's like putting together a puzzle while you're reading this book, trying to figure out what's going on. We're not quite sure if he is the problem with this, if he is this beast or whatever it is that's causing trouble. It's to the point now where the townspeople, the people that live in the city, are kind of getting a posse together and going to track down this beast. And he's not sure if it's him or not. And he's panicking. So it ramps the tension up to 11. And you really feel the tension in this book. And you feel the confusion that he feels and what is going on. And it's full of tension, but it's also fun to try and piece together what exactly is going on. So I can't wait to find out how the story ends. And this is a book that you can go back and reread and find clues and things to latch yourself onto. And it's wonderful artwork and wonderful characterizations. All the characters are really well defined. It reminds me of a Jeff Lemire book, the way the characters are all very defined. And yeah, all of it just really works. So love this book, Sleep number 3.
Cool.
Now we'll get to X-Men 121 and 122.
Yeah. So we kind of crossed over into the next volume if you're checking this out by volume out of the library. 121 ends one volume and 122 begins the next. And
Kind of a weird place to start a new volume.
yeah, it is kind of a weird place. Yeah, you're right. It was I guess they could only pack so much into the book, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny how long Byrne and Claremont work together, because they're still going strong here, and they've been covering over it's been what 13, 14 issues now, which I guess if you think about it, it's only over a year, so I guess it's not that long, but compared to nowadays, I guess it is.
Yeah, it's a while now. Yeah, back then it didn't seem like that long, but now it's pretty long.
Yeah, and it's monthly, and comics were a lot more on time back then than what we used to. But yeah, so I don't know, 121 gave a little recap, and
Mm,
then it was interesting because these guys they were um, they were trying to get back to Professor X, and they still have like this implicit trust in Professor X. Like he is the man, and I just noticed that for some reason it stood out to me that they don't question anything that he's ever told them, and they don't and I don't know if that's just because of future stuff that I've read that I know is gonna mess that up eventually, but um,
maybe his mind, he's using his mind control on them or his
yeah, I
powers.
mean, if you tell me you're a telepath and you just say yeah, I giving you orders and trust me no matter what I'd be kind of like, is he messing with my mind? How would you know, right?
You wouldn't, yeah, you wouldn't know.
So I don't know. It was just kind of funny. It stuck out to me at this point in time with this reread.
Yeah. Um, it's funny. I think we talked last week about how there's always like a break, or they always kind of have a kind of this buffer where they go on an adventure and then they have kind of a break and they all relax and not
Yeah,
really relax, but there's like a pause in the action.
yeah,
I think it's interesting now that that there's always seemed to be like some downtime.
yeah, yeah. And uh, and this issue really bugged me. Number 121 because
Yeah.
Wolvie gives up. Right? They take him away in the armored car or whatever, and they're all like, "Okay, we're gonna make this big decision. We gotta rescue him." And then he shows up on the plane, and I'm just like, "Okay." There's no explanation whatsoever for him being able to escape and get back to them
Yeah.
on the plane. I was just like, what is up with that?
Yeah. I was kind of okay.
Yeah.
Change your mind.
So that 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 ending to that volume was not the best ending in the world, I gotta
No.
say.
It was a
Uh,
strange ending.
yeah, very strange. But the beginning of the next volume, in issue number 122, we get that whole um, they're back in the mansion
Mm.
and they're trying to figure out why Professor X isn't there. They don't know. You got the whole danger room thing with Colossus and breaking the machine down and what have you, um, that's more of that downtime you were
Mm.
talking about, and we get a little glimpse of Professor X and what he's up to out in space, um,
Just chilling in
and
space, having
yeah, just
mimosas.
chilling,
Mm,
and then we get back to Jean finally
finally.
over in Scotland over there. And we get a little introduction to Mr. Jason Wingard and the old Hellfire
Mm.
Club is mentioned, and I was like, "Oh, okay, here we go. We're finally getting into it."
Yeah. It's neat seeing the names that you remember, recognize and seeing, where they were back then.
Yeah, I actually just recognized him, like from the artwork straight off the
Mm.
bat, like before he even said what his name was to her and stuff. Like I was just like, "Oh, I know who that is."
I know we say this every week, but Burns artwork, I mean,
Ah, yeah,
doesn't get much better.
yep, it's definitely a high, especially uh, when Aurora goes into that drug den
Mm.
and the outwork in there was just like, wow, that was just a beautifully drawn scene. I was just like stunned with that.
Yeah, I love his artwork. It's like peak Jim Lee. That's kind of where Burns artwork is for me. Jim Lee hasn't been out quite on that, had that dedication for a long time, but
Yeah,
Burns artwork is it's just really, I don't want to say simple, but it's very clean.
yeah, yep. And it's and it's funny because it's your comparison with Jim Lee is actually quite apt, I think, because this was Byrne at his peak before people really knew what a superstar artist he was. And I felt the same way about Jim Lee's artwork when he was on his early days on X
Mhm.
Men, you
Yeah.
know, and before people really knew what he was, his stuff was really amazing. And I felt this is the same right now. This is peak John Byrne stuff on X Men before he got bigger and went on to other projects and stuff. But really cool. Uh, the only thing I didn't like about this issue was, of course, the ending with Arcade, that
Yeah.
villain. I can't stand that guy. I could do without him.
I always love when the new the villain gets introduced and the name comes in really bold colored letters.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, while I don't mind, maybe it's because we know it's coming, the big storyline coming, but I really I don't mind the kind of villain of every month or every 2 months or whatever, but I'm looking forward to getting into a longer storyline that's spans a few issues.
Yeah. Yeah. It's we're still looking at that different time when they had to do that villain of the month, but he also was balancing that overarching storyline that was always there. Um, and it's like you always had like a maybe 4 or 5 pages of that, and then the rest was the villain of the month and the battle of the month or what have you.
Yeah, like you said, they're still developing a longer form story, but I'm kind of looking forward to what's coming up. So
Yeah,
excited.
absolutely.
Yeah, so next week we'll be reading 123 and 124. Be getting into Arcade, see what he's up to. But just it's not a very intimidating character
Yeah.
appearance wise. But anyway, yeah, so 123, 124 next week. If you'd like to read along with us, like we mentioned, it is available on Hoopla and Libby. So let's check it out. You can check it out of your local library digitally for free and read along with us at no cost to you. Yeah, that's all the books for this week. Quite a few this week, but until next time, Jared, where can people find you?
You can find me in the Fantasy Thinker YouTube channel. You can find me at Speculation Podcast, and you can find me on the Page 2 and forums.
Yeah. And of course, you can always find us on the Patreon forums. You can also send us a message directly using the link in the description below and let us know what we're missing, or if you have any suggestions or thoughts. Tell us why we're wrong for not liking Death of Silver Surfer or Weifu. Let us know what your thoughts are. But yeah, until next time, we will talk to everyone very soon.
Bye bye.